Alright guys, let's jump straight in. Why is having low DPS more fun on Once Human compared to other games? I think the first thing to discuss is that as gamers we are naturally forced in MMOs to be as strong as humanly possible, and that's because all the bosses endgame are optimized around the highest DPS builds. You look at WoW raiding, you look at Destiny, for instance. All of these games, you need to have as high a DPS as humanly possible in order to even complete the endgame content, let alone have fun in the endgame content. And I think Once Human is an outlier in that it runs very differently. The endgame bosses are not particularly well optimized. You do not need to have a fully optimized build in order to have fun and to have that sense of achievement. You don't need to have 20 people all choreographing their raid routines together. You can pretty much come in, work out the mechanics, and just have fun playing the game. And this is why I genuinely believe with Once Human, having a lower DPS actually makes the game more fun. Could have gone for the Shrapnel build. I've seen the Frost Vortex builds that are doing 600,000 DPS, and they just walk up into a boss and one-shot it, and I just don't see any fun in that whatsoever. Like, if we look here, let's pump our mag into this guy. Bam, 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 bam. I'm averaging about 9k DPS. I would say optimized wise, you probably for the pro content, I'm going to want to have that a little higher, maybe 10 to 15k DPS, but you don't need any more than that to complete every single boss. As you'll see here, I've defeated every single boss on solo with this exact build. My gear isn't fully calibrated, my gun is fully calibrated.
Need to get to the pillar.
But I guess my point is, you don't need to have the world's greatest build in order to have fun and, more importantly, complete the content in Once Human. The bosses are not particularly difficult, and if you go in and just one-shot them, I just don't see what the achievement is in that. I don't find that particularly fun. For me, I get fun in the grind. It's like playing a Elden Ring, for example. If you just walk in and just one-hit every single boss, and there's no struggle, and there's no challenge, like, you would be bored of the game instantly. The achievement in Elden Ring and that feeling of holy fuck, I'm glad that boss is dead. Like, I want to replicate that feeling in Once Human. I want to struggle. I want to have to do every mechanic of every phase in every single boss in order to be able to beat it. I don't want to walk in and before the boss has thrown an attack, I've killed it. There's no sense of achievement. There's no fun there. What's the point in farming Starcrom? What's the point in farming Acid and Stardust, in building this massive base, in having everything fully optimized? What's the point in grinding for 6 weeks of a season if you're just going to walk in and one-hit every single boss? I don't see why that's fun in any way. So I think it's different if you're in PvP. If I was on when I do a PvP campaign, I will be probably abusing the most powerful builds because you just want to ruin everyone else's day and smash them. You're against other humans. However, for PvE, just pick a build that you find fun. You do not need to be on YouTube looking for the most optimal, powerful, overpowered, broken, strong builds. You don't need to play a Shrapnel build. You don't need to play these Vortex builds, these broken Black Panther builds. None of them are absolutely necessary to play the game. The good thing about that is that if you pick a weaker build, you're going to have more fun. Are you going to die more? Absolutely. Is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. Tell me one World of Warcraft guild that has successfully cleared a raid on their first attempt. None of them. It's always a struggle, and that's where the fun lies with MMOs for me. And I'm really looking forward to the pro content, and we're going to be smashing it through with unoptimized builds all week long. Hopefully it requires all 4 of us, and every single boss is completely difficult. I haven't looked at any videos, I haven't looked at any guides, I have no idea what to expect. I'm really hoping it's challenging and insanely difficult even with 4 of us. If it does prove to be slightly easy, I will try to solo every silo, every boss on the pro mode. I'll probably put up some videos on them. You can see how poorly it goes. But you will never see me using an overpowered, broken build that does the highest DPS possible on once human. And you won't see that until they actually balance the bosses, until they make the bosses more of a challenge, because I want to have fun playing this game. I want to be excited for next season. I want to be ready to grind a new build and to be competing against the new bosses, and for them to be kicking my ass for most of the for most of the season. Like, that's where the fun comes in these PvE games for me. So I would implore all of you to stop looking for guides, stop trying to be as strong as humanly possible. Just play a build that you find fun and just struggle. The fun is always in the struggle. No game that you've walked in and absolutely destroyed are the all-time great games, and you'll just burn out. What is the point in the grind? What is the point in all of this grind week in, week out if you're just going to one-shot every single boss? If that was the case, you're going to be bored by Season 3. There's no way you're lasting more than 12 weeks. Anyway, that's my bit of advice. There's absolutely no need whatsoever to be running these absolute meta builds unless you're on a PvP server and your aim is purely just to smash other players. I'm obviously rambling on a bit now, so I'm gonna end this rant, but just play what you want to play. Embrace the grind, embrace the struggle, and make the game as fun as possible, because otherwise you're going to burn out and you're just going to die of boredom. So anywho, I'm going to be live Tuesdays, Thursdays. We are grinding pro dungeons, we are grinding pro silos, pro everything, endgame bosses, and we will be using suboptimal builds. In future seasons, I will always try and pick what I think is the second or first worst build possible, and I will never have a ridiculously high DPS as long as the bosses are doable on low FPS. FPS? DPS. Anywho, that's it for me, and I'll catch you on the next one. In a bit. In a bit.
'Cause I'm in love with an alien tonight, and in love with a chick from space, and